See, I always tell you, you should feel that there should be a reason to study chemistry, not simply because it is given in our syllabus. If you feel that yaar syllabus mein chemistry diya hai, padna hi padega, तो it's going to be really boring. You will never find interest in it. So you try to answer the question, what is the reason I am studying this chapter? We have 118 elements in the periodic table. Among that 118 elements is one single element which is called as carbon. We always dedicate an entire chapter on carbon. Not only this year, next year also. Next year also we are going to study one chapter named as carbon. So it's a very, very, very important chapter and very, very easy and very interesting. I'm not saying just for the sake of it. You're going to find it really interesting. So let us quickly begin with this chapter now. To understand carbon, we are going to carry out a simple experiment here. In this experiment, I am going to take some milk in an evaporating dish. You all know what is an evaporating dish? You might have seen it in the laboratory. It's an evaporating dish in which I have taken milk. I am going to heat the evaporating dish on a Bunsen burner. Bunsen burner is the name of the burner given here. After heating the evaporating dish which is containing the milk, what do you think will remain at the bottom of the evaporating dish on complete evaporation? If I allow it to continuously burn, if I allow it to continuously heat, what do you think will remain at the bottom of the evaporating dish? Have you ever tried doing that? If your mom has told you to take care of the milk being boiled and if you're not attentive, I'm pretty sure you all simply go and switch off the gas once the milk has come from the container. But what if you don't keep attention at all? If it is continuously being boiling on the gas, what is going to? Yes, there will be a black substance which will be left behind at the bottom. It will turn black. If you observe, if you take a milk cooker or something and if you try to boil milk again and again in the same vessel, also you can see being brown and slowly turning into black. Slowly turning into black, and this black colored substance is nothing but carbon. This black colored substance is nothing but carbon. That means carbon is present in milk. Do we all agree to this? From this, I know that milk contains carbon. Similarly, let us carry out one more simple experiment, this time with a lot of small samples. I'm going to take small samples of these following substances in different test tubes. You all can see I have taken a test tube stand. I have taken 6 different test tubes. And the simple samples are these ones which we come across every day, which are in use for us in every day. Sugar, wool, dry leaves, hair, seeds, pulses, and plastic. Don't we come across these substances every day? Isn't it? We come across them every day, right? What do you think is going to happen if I heat each test tube and observe the changes that is taking place in these substances? What do you feel is going to happen if we continuously heat these test tubes? What will be remaining at the bottom? I'm pretty sure, see, we never tried heating hair, we never tried heating seeds, but I'm pretty sure everybody has tried heating sugar. At least during this lockdown, many of you would have tried your hands at making cakes or baking something. You have definitely made a caramel, right? Have you ever tried to leave that caramel unattended? Have you ever even tried or dare to do that in presence of your mom? No, I'm pretty sure no. But you all know what is the answer to this. If we keep it heating continuously, the black colored substance will be left behind. And that black colored substance is nothing but, again, the element which is carbon, isn't it? So the substance which is remaining behind in each of the test tube, it is indicating that they all contain one element, and that one element is nothing but carbon. Imagine this single element carbon present around us almost every day. It is needed by us almost every day. It is there inside our body as well. The DNA, RNA is made up of this carbon. Yes, hair also contains carbon. So if everything around us, yes, all these elements contain carbon, all these substances contain carbon. So if everything around us is containing carbon, don't you think it is very important for us to need to know about this element, that what is the special feature of this element carbon? I'll talk about coal and carbon as well, but let us move ahead from this. Have you all understood this experiment? All right. So they all contain the single element carbon, and that is why this carbon becomes a very important element, and that is what the name of our chapter is, carbon, an important element. You should know the reason why I am saying that carbon is an important element. To begin with, as I said, carbon is an important element. It is a non-metal as well. It's an element which is following under the category of non-metal. So I will say that carbon is an important non-metallic element. The element carbon is available abundantly in nature. It is present almost everywhere, and it occurs in free state as well as combined state. When I say free state and combined state means what? There are certain substances where only carbon will be present in the form of coal, graphite, and diamond. When I say combined state, it will be present along with some other element like carbon dioxide, like carbonates, and in different other things which we are going to study later in this chapter only. We're going to study in detail about free state and combined state. So let us see what makes carbon so unique. Why is carbon so unique? क्या ऐसा है उस element के अंदर that is very important to us? So we're going to talk about carbon and its basic properties. Now this element carbon, let us try to study the properties of carbon. The symbol of carbon is C. Its atomic mass number is 12. Atomic number is 6. Followed by that, we are also going to study the electronic configuration of carbon. The electronic configuration of carbon. If the atomic number is 6, can you tell me what will be the electronic configuration? 2, 4. Very good. If the valency is 2, the electronic configuration is 2, 4, which tells me that the valency is 4. So is it going to donate, accept, or share electrons to become stable? Share. Very good. Till now, we only studied about give and take. We did not study about share. That is the most important feature of carbon, where it is going to share the 4 electrons from some other element to become stable. All right. So electronic configuration is 2. It's a non-metallic element. If you want, you all can write these basics as symbol of carbon, atomic number, atomic mass number, electronic configuration, valency. And carbon will always share its 4 electrons to become stable. And when sharing of electrons takes place, we say the bond which is formed is called as covalent bond. In next year, you will be studying the covalent bond structure and how it is made. In this academic year, we're only going to study about the name of the bond, which is called as covalent bond. Yes, it is given in the textbook. If you want, you can write it down. If you don't want, it's absolutely fine. But certain places, I'll be still expecting you to write. That I'll tell you a little later. Carbon does not donate or accept electrons because we have studied that when the valency is more than 4, when the number of electrons in the outermost shell is more than 4, they usually accept electrons. When it is less than 4, they usually donate electrons. See, in the next shell, carbon will become stable either by donating 4 electrons. So electronic configuration 2 हो जाएगा. अगर accept करेगा तो भी 4 electron करना है. That means carbon is going to do the same thing. Donate also 4 electrons, accept also 4 electrons. So rather than donating and accepting, it shares the electrons to become stable. All right, Sakshi? Did you understand this? Why it is sharing? Yes, it will also contain carbon, Saloni. Now, moving ahead, let us talk about organic and inorganic compounds. Now, here we are going to make a list of few substances which we come across almost in our daily routine. Carbon will share all its 4 electrons, yes. See, now here, what is the concept? You know that carbon is going to share. So other elements like oxygen, whose valency is 2, when it is combining with carbon, it shares its 2 electrons. So that it also becomes 8 and carbon also becomes 8. Bottom line is that every element has to become stable by completing its octet. Usually, other than carbon, all of them donate or accept, but carbon will share with other elements. So compounds which are obtained directly or indirectly from plants and animals are all called as organic compounds. Keep this word in mind. Organic means which are obtained from the natural sources like plants and animals. or living things, you can say, they will be called as organic compounds, which mainly contain carbon as the very important element. In other words, organic compounds can also be termed as carbon compounds. Organic compounds can also be termed as carbon compounds. So the substances like oil, sugar, ghee, cotton, your liquefied petroleum gas, vinegar, etc. all are organic compounds because they all contain carbon in them. Sorry. So we were talking. So the main difference between organic and inorganic, you can say that organic mainly contain carbon as the most important element along with hydrogen. So these are the substances which we use in our daily routine. And inorganic compounds are the compounds which are usually obtained from minerals, that is from the non-living sources. Compounds obtained from minerals are usually the inorganic compounds, which are the substances like common salt, copper sulfate. These all are inorganic compounds. Did you all understand what is the difference between organic and inorganic? If I have to say in one single term, organic basically is obtained from living sources. Inorganic means which is obtained from non-living sources. And organic compounds contain carbon as the important element. No, we can't say it is. That is why I'm not saying that every organic compound contains carbon. Or is it that the other compounds which contains carbon should fall under the category of organic? This was the process, or this was the method used earlier when people were not much aware of the technology. They thought that whichever is obtained from the living sources, whichever substances are obtained from the living sources should be termed under organic, and which are not obtained from the living sources should be termed under inorganic. Yes, thermocol also has carbon. So why carbon is an important element here? Because carbon is the common and most important constituent which is usually found in all of the substances around us, like foodstuffs, clothes, your medicines, your fuels, and your wooden objects as well. They all contain these carbon as the important element. Now, why carbon was important and how the concept of organic chemistry was changed, that people, they came to know that it is not necessary that organic compounds should be found only from the living sources. This carbon is a main element even in our cellular DNA and RNA that transfer the hereditary characters from one generation to the next. You know, not DNA and RNA. Have you heard about these terms? You know, so the DNA and RNA which is present inside our body, that means we ourselves are made up of carbon. Our entire body is carbon. This is the DNA and RNA. Now, students, as I said, that there was a belief that substances which were obtained from natural sources or living sources were termed as organic, और जो non-living sources से मिला उसको बोला inorganic. But in Germany, there was a German chemist whose name was Wohler. Wohler synthesized an organic compound urea from an inorganic compound ammonium cyanate. So now the belief was slightly changed that it is not necessary that organic compounds can be found only in natural sources. They can be prepared in the laboratory as well. And this concept was changed by the German chemist Wohler, who synthesized an organic compound which is urea. Have you heard about urea? Synthesized means made. He made an organic compound urea from an inorganic compound which is ammonium cyanate. Ever since then, many organic compounds have been made from the inorganic compounds. And what we all found as the important constituent in the organic compounds was carbon. Hence, organic chemistry is also referred to as the chemistry of carbon compounds. Urea is the excretory product found from the living organisms. Hence, organic chemistry is also referred to as the chemistry of carbon compounds. Here, this is how he is synthesized. The formula of ammonium cyanate is NH4 plus CNO minus. And let me tell you, this experiment, he did it accidentally. He was carrying out some experiment on ammonium cyanate and he was heating this ammonium cyanate and accidentally he made urea, whose formula is NH2CONH2. Yes, Carbon can also be present in the organic compound. It is not compulsory that inorganic में carbon नहीं होगा. Now here only we can see, no, ammonium cyanide के अंदर carbon present है. But organic chemistry is referred to as chemistry of carbon compounds because all of the organic compounds contain carbon. No, it's not necessary. So this point I would request you to write. Just write about German chemist Wohler and write this experiment. Write this equation given here. Ammonium cyanide on heating gives me urea. I am sure that this is there in your textbook. You all are very well aware of it, but still I would request you to write it down because writing reactions is very important. And try to read everyone with me. Come on, don't just sleep. Come on, everyone, fast. What is the formula of ammonium cyanide? NH4 plus CNO minus. NH4 plus CNO minus. Repeat fast. NH4 plus, that is ammonium, and cyanate is CNO minus. On heating forms urea, whose formula is NH2CO NH2. What's the formula of urea? NH2CO NH2. Come on, quickly. No, you don't have to write the red box. You just have to write the name of the scientist and write the equation. NH2CO NH2. Yes, it is used in farming also. See, what am I saying is, it is not necessary that inorganic compounds में carbon नहीं होगा. The difference between organic and inorganic basically is, organic compounds are those which are found from living sources. That was the belief earlier. And inorganic are found from the non-living stuff. Getting my point? But it was found that whatever organic compounds we were coming across were containing the main element as carbon. So that is why organic chemistry is also called as chemistry of carbon compounds. But definitely we have a lot of inorganic compounds as well which contains carbon. I hope I am clearing the difference between organic and inorganic for you all. You don't have to write the red boxes. I'll repeat once again to get the confusion of organic and inorganic clear to everyone. You have to repeat after me. When I say organic, we are talking about compounds which are obtained from the living sources. All right. Inorganic are those compounds that are obtained from non-living sources. ये difference है organic और inorganic में. But when we saw organic compounds, they were containing carbon in everything. They were containing carbon in everything. That is why carbon was the important compound. See, it's okay to write inorganic without carbon is because they hardly contains carbon in them. But it's not that it will not be present, will definitely be present. The name of the chapter is carbon. Yes, wood is organic. Thank you, Saloni. Is the confusion clear about organic and inorganic now? We can't deny the fact that inorganic compounds sometimes do contain carbon, but it is a wide range of chemistry where it is not found in majority. These are two important branches of chemistry, organic and inorganic. Yes, plastic is also organic. No, plastic can't be termed as organic, dear. It contains carbon. Yeah, that bell is about the temple which is near my house, and I can't avoid this. I'm sorry. Yes, correct, side, Sivasri. Yes, we'll come across examples of inorganic compounds as well. So we'll move ahead. See, we have to move ahead. We'll understand what is exactly the difference here. So let us start with the occurrence of carbon now. No, it will not come as differentiate in the exam. Do not worry, Rishi. Now talking about occurrence of carbon. The name carbon is derived from the Latin word carbo, which is meaning coal. Basically, the word carbon भी coal के वजह से आया, because coal contained only carbon, and they came to know there is only one element present in this coal, so that is why they have written carbon. Carbon is found in nature, as we discussed, in free state and combined state as well. In free state, it is found only as graphite and diamond and also fullerenes. This is diamond and this is graphite. I'm pretty sure everybody has seen diamond and graphite. Yes, everybody has seen diamond and graphite. Diamond तो मुझे पता है, but graphite कहाँ देखा है तुमने? Where have you seen graphite? Good, Daniel. It's present in the pencil lead. Very nice. Lead of your pencils is graphite. So अभी तुम everyday graphite देख रहे हो. Under occurrence of carbon, as we have discussed, that carbon is present in free state as well as in combined state. In free state, we have diamond, graphite, and fullerenes also. But in combined state, let us see what are the following compounds. In combined state, it is present as carbon dioxide and in the form of carbonates such as calcium carbonate, your marble, and your calamine, which is zinc carbonate. No, carbon is not diatomic. Yes, this you all have to write. Give the heading as occurrence of carbon. Come on quickly. No, you don't have to write the previous slide. Now you're going to start writing. Give the heading as occurrence of carbon. You can make a flow chart if you want. Occurrence of carbon. Free state के अंदर तुम डाल सकते हो diamond, graphite and fullerenes. And under combined state, the first point is as carbon dioxide and in the form of carbonates. And examples here are calcium carbonate, marble and calamine. First write this, then I'll show you the previous slide also. Do one thing. Whatever I am telling you, you please write it down. Now I want everyone to only concentrate on what I am saying. Give the heading as occurrence of carbon. Then divide into two columns. Divide into two sections. In one section, you are going to write free state of carbon. In second section, you are going to write combined state of carbon. Did you get me, everyone? First section, we'll write free state of carbon. Second section, I'm going to write combined state of carbon. Under free state, we have three examples: diamond, graphite, and fullerenes, about whom we are going to study everything in detail. We are going to study in detail about diamond, about graphite, and about fullerenes. Under combined state, the first point is visible to you on your screen, which is as carbon dioxide and in the form of carbonates, and these three examples. I'll repeat it from the start once again for those who have missed it out. If you're not able to write the spelling of fullerenes, have patience. In the next slide, it is going to come. We'll come to everything. See, if you keep the textbook in your hand and you try to read all the statements which are ahead of what I am teaching, and if you ask me those, I'll be able to answer those questions only when I am teaching that topic. Are you getting me? So you please ask me doubts about anything which I've completed teaching. It's calcium carbonate. Marble contains calcium carbonate only. So occurrence of carbon, first section was free state, second section was combined state. Under free state, we have written diamond, graphite and fullerenes. Under combined state, this is the first point, which is as carbon dioxide and in the form of carbonates, and these three examples. Have you all finished writing? Thank you, Daniel. Carbon occurs in nature in either free state or combined state. Free state का मतलब जिसमें सिर्फ कार्बन प्रेजेंट है और कुछ भी प्रेजेंट नहीं होगा. Combined state means carbon along with some other element. Did you understand, Samuel, now? Are we all done with this? Free state ka examples are diamond, graphite and fullerenes. In combined state, we have done only first thing, that is as carbon dioxide in the form of carbonates. Calamine is usually found in lotions, body lotions or hand lotions. And in the combined state, we also have under fossil fuels. In fossil fuels, we have coal, we have petroleum, and we have natural gas. Basically, see, coal is also a the second point is fossil fuels, which contain coal, petroleum, and natural gas. Sivasri will come to everything in detail. Have patience. First, write whatever I'm telling you to do that. When I say free state means it is containing only that single element present in it. Done? You have to, the purpose of writing is not just giving you some task. The purpose of writing is that you're learning along with writing. The first point was in combined state in the form of carbonates like calcium carbonate, marble, and calamine. Second is fossil fuels like coal, petroleum, and natural gas. They all are under combined state only. Third point, carbonaceous nutrients. When I say carbonaceous nutrients, we are talking about carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Third point, carbonaceous nutrients. It can be in any form. No, carbon can be in any form. Carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. I'm pretty sure looking at the pictures, everybody will be feeling hungry now. Are you feeling hungry? Fats wala picture is zyada attractive. Now I get answers from a lot of students. Have you all done? So we have done with the third point, that is carbonaceous nutrients, which are carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. The fourth point is natural fibers. The natural fibers are cotton, wool, and silk. The fourth point is natural fibers. It's natural fibers, cotton, wool, and silk. I'll show everything again. First, write. Let everybody finish. Then I'll just go through every slide once again. Yes, the residue will come definitely. Black colored substance will be left behind. So we'll quickly go through all the 4 points of combined state once again. The first here was as carbon dioxide in the form of carbonates like calcium carbonate, marble, and calamine. Okay, repeat. Come on. If you are going again, we have to repeat quickly. Let everybody know you're sitting for the chemistry class. Shout as loud as you can. As carbon dioxide in the form of carbonates. How do it in the class? If we ask you to repeat it in the class, do repetition. Do you know the amount of intensity you guys have to shout when we are doing repetition? Let's use the same procedure again. What if we are not able to meet each other, but at least we are there in our respective class homes and we can shout. कैल्शियम कार्बोनेट अगर यही लेक्चर में अनम्यूट करके लेती तो मुझे बराबर सुनाई देता सबका आवाज. You would have shouted on top of your voices. They should know why you are shouting. You're not shouting, you're repeating. You're trying to memorize the words. As carbon dioxide in the form of carbonates. Come on, quickly. Carbonate, marble, and calamine. No, I can't take the risk of making you unmute. That will be most dangerous risk I'll be taking of my life now. Next is fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are coal, petroleum, and natural gas. Coal, petroleum, and natural gas. Come on, coal, petroleum, and natural gas. Very nice. Are you all repeating? Did you have fun? Yes or no? Very nice. Third point. I'm not going to show you. You're going to tell me. The third point. What's the third point? Does anybody remember? What's the third point? Who's going to tell me? I'll tell the name. Who's going to tell me first? I'm not in. Oh, I'm so sorry. I missed your name. I'm really sorry. So it is carbonaceous nutrients, which are what? Proteins. I'm sorry. Carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Come on, fast. Carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Fourth point क्या था, जल्दी बताओ. Who is the first one now? Okay, Keenan. Okay, Keenan, I got your answer first. Natural fibers, which are what? Suzanne is able to tell me they are cotton, wool, and silk. Very nice. Very quick with technology, I must say. Huh? इतना क्लास में आंसर पूछेगा तो आता नहीं है. So we've understood the combined state of carbon. Now we quickly move ahead with the properties of carbon. But before that, your family members are shouting. No problem. Now we'll not shout. We'll take a little rest. So just a small piece of information for you all. In Earth's crust, carbon is present to the approximately 0.27% in the form of carbonates, coal and petroleum. In atmosphere, the proportion of carbon in the form of carbon dioxide is approximately 0.03%. Some types of plants which grow on ocean floor convert carbon into marine water into calcium carbonate. So this is a small piece of information. Let us study about the allotropic nature of carbon under the properties of carbon. Now, what is the meaning of allotropy? Allotropy means some elements occur in nature in more than one form. Just a minute. Some elements occur in nature in more than one form. The chemical properties of these different forms are same, but the physical properties are different. अभी ये statement पढ़ के तुमको कुछ नहीं समझ में आ रहेगा, right? समझा कि नहीं समझा? नहीं समझा तो अभी इसको सिंप्लीफाई करते हैं. ठीक है, मुझे बताओ, यू ऑल नो व्हाट इज डायमंड. सबने डायमंड देखा है कि नहीं? सबने ग्राफाइट को भी देखा है? एवरीबॉडी सीन ग्राफाइट. डायमंड और ग्राफाइट दोनों सेम दिखते हैं क्या? डू दे लुक सेम? नो, बट वी नो दैट दे बोथ कंटेन ओनली वन एलिमेंट. उन दोनों में क्या प्रेजेंट है? बट both of them contain only one element, carbon. So when these elements occur in nature in different forms, मतलब physically तो वो दिखने में अलग है, but chemically तो उसके अंदर same ही चीज present है ना. So if they react, they are going to give me the same product, isn't it? So the chemical properties of these different forms. So chemical properties of diamond and graphite are same, but their physical properties are different. This phenomena is called as allotropy. And we can say they are allotropes of each other, or we can say they're allotropes of carbon. We're going to say they are allotropes of carbon. Is it clear to you all? Abhi samajh mein aaya definition ka meaning? The chemical properties of the different forms are same, but the physical properties are different. This property of elements is called as allotropy. And allotropy is shown by carbon as well as sulfur and phosphorus also. But we are going to study only about carbon. So what are we going to write now? Simply give the heading as allotropy and write the second and the third point. Yes, that is the difference, no? Because it is how it is found in nature and how it is extracted from the mines. That is why one becomes fresh, precious, and one becomes cheaply available. So under the, come on, everybody repeat the definition of allotropy. The chemical properties of the different forms are same, but the physical properties are different. I'm repeating. Chemical properties of the different forms are same, but their physical properties are different. This property of elements is called as allotropy. You have to write the second and the third point here. Or else do one thing, write first, second, and third point. I'm sorry if you have already written. Write the first, second, and third point. Some elements occur in nature in more than one form. The chemical properties of these different forms are same, but their physical properties are different. This property of element is called as allotropy. If you would have been there with me in the class, I would have made sure that we had all the definitions in the class itself. I never leave my students without writing the definitions. If you were there in my class, you would have known this. There is no such form. That is not going to happen so. Along with writing, repeat and write. So what is the allotropic nature of carbon? Some elements occur in nature in more than one form. The chemical properties of these different forms are same, repeat, but the physical properties are different. This property of elements is called as allotropy. Chemically वो का form same है, physically they are different, so we say they are allotropes of carbon. Shall I move ahead now from allotropy? Did you all understand? Now we have to study different forms of allotropic carbon. Okay, I'll wait for a minute. Yes, Ayan. Yes, I'll wait. For those who finished writing, can read. What happened, Rishi? What is the meaning of physical property? Means the outside structure, look wise, appearance wise, their melting point, boiling point. So when I say physical properties, it is about how it, how's their melting and boiling point. But if I talk about chemical properties, means about how it takes parts in the chemical reaction, how it is going to react chemically, means chemical properties. Very good, Kaushiki. Very nice. Thank you, Riddhi. All right, very good. Let's move ahead and try to understand the allotropes of carbon now. In under allotropes of carbon, we have two types. The first one is the crystalline form and the second one is the amorphous form. For now, we are going to concentrate only on the crystalline form. So give the heading as allotropes of carbon, under which section A, crystalline forms. You have also learned, very good, Anisha. Anshika, sorry. Okay, Ayan, very good. I usually teach in Western branches. Under crystalline forms, point number 1. The crystalline forms usually have a regular and definite arrangement of atoms. They usually have high melting points and high boiling points. Third point, a crystalline form has a definite geometrical shape, sharp edges, and plane surfaces. Yes, crystalline forms are usually shiny also. So under crystalline form, you know what is the basic difference between crystalline and amorphous, if I have to say for, have you all, see, everybody has seen talcum powder and salt, like you just have to see the, what I say, how does it look like? You all have seen talcum powder and salt, right? Everybody has seen talcum powder and salt. So talcum powder का flow कैसा है और salt का flow कैसा है? Different है ना? Isn't it different? Salt is a little rough and small particles, but talcum powder is very smooth. So talcum powder is the kind of appearance which the non-crystalline form has, and crystalline forms are like the appearance of a salt. This is how is the basic difference usually in during if we talk about the powder forms. But basically crystalline forms have a regular and definite arrangement of atoms. They usually have high melting point and high boiling point. And crystalline form also has definite geometrical shape, sharp edges and plane surfaces. Under crystalline forms, you're going to study 3 examples. And here you can see there are 3 allotropes of carbon: diamond, graphite and fullerenes. No, don't write this. Please repeat this. Carbon has 3 crystalline allotropic forms, which is diamond, graphite, and fullerenes. The 3 allotropic forms are diamond, graphite, and fullerenes. Have you all got this? So we all know now the allotropes of carbon under crystalline forms. I have 3 crystalline forms. One is diamond, the other one is graphite, and the third one is fullerenes. Have you all got the spelling of fullerenes now? We'll talk everything in detail. Even if you know diamond, you know graphite, but you don't know fullerenes, you still have to study everything in detail about diamond, graphite, and fullerenes. Shall we move ahead with diamond in detail now? Everybody's got this? So now we are going to study about diamond in detail. Talking about diamond, everybody has seen diamond, isn't it? Now where this diamond is found? Diamonds are found in India, mainly in Golconda state of Telangana. and it is also found in Panna state of Madhya Pradesh. Diamonds are also found in South Africa, Brazil, Belgium, Russia, and America. This is just a simple piece of information. We don't have to learn all this. Diamond structure. This is very important now. What is the reason that diamond looks like that? In diamond, every carbon atom is bonded to 4 other neighboring carbon atoms by covalent bond. If you all see here, blue dots. Can you all observe blue dots here? सबको ये structure में blue dots दिख रहा है. These blue dots are carbon. Here one carbon, if you observe, एक center वाला carbon को ले लो for example. Okay, can you see the mouse cursor if I'm using here? Everybody is able to see the cursor of the mouse? Okay, this is the carbon which I am talking about. This carbon is attached here 1, here it is attached 2, here it is attached 3, and the 4th one goes behind because it's a 3-dimensional structure. Or you can see here, we can easily see. Here one carbon is attached to 1, 2, 3, and 4. So every carbon atom in the structure of diamond is attached to 4 other carbon atoms. And the bond which is formed here is called as the covalent bond. And because of such structure, if you observe, 1 carbon is at the top and 3 are at the base. Can you see here? Every carbon में एक carbon top पे होता है और 3 are at the base. So that is why this structure is called as tetragonal. Tetra means 4-dimensional, 4 bonds. Tetra means 4 bonds, and because the structure is not in the front only, it's a 3-dimensional structure. We all have seen diamond, isn't it? So the most important point here is the diamond. In the case of diamond, every carbon is bonded to 4 neighboring carbon atoms by covalent bond. And therefore, the diamond is called as a tetragonal 3-dimensional structure, which makes it very hard. Everyone, come on, write this. Give the heading as properties of carbon में first one diamond, under the point structure. हम लोग इसमें structure पढ़ेंगे, properties पढ़ेंगे और uses पढ़ेंगे. So structure में क्या है? Every carbon is attached to 4 carbon atoms, and that is why the diamond is tetragonal 3-dimensional structure, which makes it very hard because the bonds are so strong. It is very difficult to break this bond, and because the bond is very difficult to break, the structure becomes very hard. Tetra means 4. Because it is attached to 4 neighboring atoms, we say 4. Tetra. You have to write diamond under structure. Please don't draw anything. Just write the statement which is given here. We are studying the crystalline forms of carbon, where the first one we are studying is diamond. Have you all written? Yes. The shape of the element or non-element. What is a non-element? No. It's a different concept altogether. There is nothing, a term called as non-element here. Have you all finished writing? After this, we have to study about the properties and uses of diamond, which I'll do it in the next class. So I'll wind up my lecture here. Anybody who has any doubts can stay back. Who has understood can leave the meeting.